About the development of the parcel. As you can see, I don't know who everybody is here and how familiar you are with the neighborhood, but I mean, it's just obvious just standing here how significant this property is to the Shaw neighborhood. It's really a cornerstone gateway property. You have the entrance to the Shaw Metro, or one of the two entrances to the Shaw Howard Metro right here. The library that I think you guys are going to next, is that right?
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it next, which was recently renovated. It's absolutely extraordinary library. We're very lucky to have it here. And like Alex said, you're actually here at the intersection of, I would say, three major corridors. R Street, which runs east and west, takes you right through DuPont and then through Georgetown. 7th Street, which I missed some of Bernie's talk, but 7th Street has a very long history, important history in Shaw, and of course in Rhode Island as well. So this property really kind of fronts all three. And the plan is for a 105-unit apartment building, 9 stories. 80% of it is market rate and 20% is affordable. And of the 20% that are affordable units, some are at the 50% AMI level, some at the 40%, and some at the 30%. So it's really deeply affordable for the 20% or 20% that would be allocated for affordable. Beautiful building. I'm sorry I don't have some renderings here, but it really is just a gorgeous building. Very excited about it. We hope to break ground next year and deliver a year and a half after that. The downstairs, the ground floor will be retail. There's a restaurant incubator that'll be kind of right here on the corner. It'll be a restaurant, but it'll also be helping other restaurants incubate and spawn off into new locations. What else can I tell you? We're very, very excited. Working closely with Alex and the ANC, with 1DC, with other neighborhood organizations, with the Civic Association.
What's your timeline?
So the timeline again is we probably have another year or so before we actually break ground, and then a year and a half after that before we deliver the building. So, and we're doing a PUD, right? That's right. Well, we have to get final council approval, which will probably happen next month, and then we start the PUD process.
How much parking is included?
It's a very good question. So parking is probably the most contentious issue, and really, frankly, probably the only material issue that we're still talking about. The district has a desire to see less parking on sites like this, where it's transit oriented, near metro, and so they feel very strongly about limiting the site to one level of parking, which is about 37 spots. Some of the members of the community feel more strongly about having more parking. So I think it's that one issue I think still needs to be worked out. But everything else I think is pretty much settled in terms of the size of the building, the number of units, the number of affordable. All of that I think is pretty well established at this point. The parking still has some work to do. Please. Right. Yeah. Well,
What was the question?
How much do I want to build and how much do I think the market will support? So, a couple things. One is underground parking in a site like this is very, very expensive. And the deeper you go down, we're basically on top of a tunnel now. We're very close to the tunnel. It looks like a large site, but actually in a kind of a site like this, most larger developers would say this is kind of site constrained. So on kind of a per square footage basis, this is a very expensive project to build. And the deeper you go down, the more expensive it gets. So every kind of level of underground parking is an additional kind of 7-figure number. So my feeling is, if we want to kind of reduce the amount of subsidy from the city, and we want to kind of encourage folks to use the metro and bike share and things of that, I personally would prefer it only to be one level, because it allows us to kind of amenitize the building more and do other things that I think the neighborhood wants. I also, I happen to live 3 blocks from here, so I also appreciate the parking issue, and folks who don't have off-street parking to live here, can drive around for a very long time trying to find places. So I don't have like a strong kind of principled perspective on this. I'm trying to develop this property so that it can serve the community. And you know, I think different people will say different things. I know Rafael and I have talked a lot about this. You know, there's a lot of properties been developed recently with a significant amount of underground parking that is kind of highly underutilized. If you look at, for example, the project that has the Target in Columbia Heights and 14th Street, I don't know if you ever parked underground there, but I mean, there's a lot of parking there, and it's kind of rarely even. I go there a lot. I bet it's half used at most. So, you know, I don't like the idea of spending a lot of money, and frankly, you know, kind of district money to provide parking that won't be used. On the other hand, you know, to the extent that the district, the neighborhood really feels like it's necessary, and it really is necessary, I don't want to kind of prematurely close the conversation. So that's kind of I don't know if that answers your question, but that's all right. Please.
How you doing? My name's Martin. Why couldn't you use district median income and not area median income?
I think you asked that question. I think at the community meeting. Is that right or no?
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, the AMI is kind of what is the standard. So that's what we use, and that's what the district uses. It's hard for me to answer that question. I'm not a policymaker. I just kind of follow the rules that are established. So that's honestly the best answer I can give you.
We actually provide I can provide you with a table basically. It's not a question of, it seems it's less about like if we use one versus another, it's actually what
how much, right?
Affordability are we achieving? And you know, we're happy to see this project go down to 30% of area median income, which is, you know, roughly sort of $30,000 for a family of four. And so it's it's hard to do that kind of deeply affordable housing and construction unless you have a big subsidy that's coming out of the land value here.
It's extremely hard to do it. I mean,
extremely hard.
Yeah. I mean, you'll see most projects, even when they start off with an intention of doing something like this, they somehow end up getting reworked prior to breaking ground, because it's just, I mean, as a matter of kind of financing the project, it is very challenging to finance a project like this.
But of course, people at these are people making a little bit above minimum wage, basically. So it's basically working people can't afford anywhere near what basically what it costs to build parking. Yes, definitely to build housing, let alone parking. I also want to note that actually the metro station is hugely valuable, but the 7th Street bus corridor is actually one of the largest corridors in the city and was originally a streetcar corridor. But I mean, basically, it's a major bus route. It's it's the second or third largest bus route in the entire region.
Right. And I catch the G8 to work every day, which just goes down Rhode Island into
So it's Rhode Island,
so,
I see.
yeah, it's buses going through here every which way all day long. Yeah, great question. That actually is part of the disposition. It's not part of it's not part of this parcel, the separate parcel, but it's part of the disposition, and it will, under our plan, it will remain undeveloped and for community use. There's a very small sliver here, and if you walk, you can see it. We could actually build something, and other proposals had, you know, like a 3 or 4 unit building there. It's possible. I don't think it makes a lot of sense, and frankly, I'm a big fan of kind of open space where we can provide it. So we're going to do some sort of kind of structured park there where the neighbors can use it for kind of whatever.